So it is a beautiful day and we are heading to Coventry Basin.
Yep. It's actually really nice today, but it's not supposed to be nice tomorrow or the next day, so we figured it's a good time to move.
So yeah, we're currently at Hawkesbury Junction and it's really nice, but it's very noisy.
Yeah, there's a big motorway just over that way. And even in the middle of the night when I woke up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, it was still quite loud. So it's a major motorway. Yeah, so into Coventry itself, hopefully to find some laundry and to do a little bit of shopping and
maybe some touristing.
Minor touristing.
Michael suddenly fascinated last night and telling me all about Lady Godiva. So.
Lady Godiva, who it turns out comes from Coventry. Who knew? I mean, the people in Coventry knew. I also found out yesterday that there's a term, sending someone to Coventry, which is apparently means to ostracize them completely and is like a punishment that the military does to people, which was like news, but because I was like, I'm going to Coventry, and I didn't realize that meant I was in trouble. But anyway.
It doesn't. It's only if you send someone else.
Oh, okay.
You can't send yourself to Coventry.
Can't send yourself to Coventry. Okay, well, live and learn. It's a small, it's a fascinating world full of extremely old statements, because this one apparently goes back to like 1000 AD-ish.
Really?
And yeah, it's like really old, and there's all these mentions, and then there's like Peeping Tom. I didn't know that Peeping Tom was a thing that came from Coventry.
Is it?
Yep, came from Coventry, related to a guy who almost certainly didn't exist. But, still, fascinating. If we find a decent place to moor up down there, I think we probably spend a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, that's contingent on finding a decent place to moor.
But I'm so excited about cruising in the sun.
Yeah.
Well, me and George are going to walk for a bit.
We haven't done it in forever.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Junction with the Oxford. This is where the Oxford used to join up. Beautiful, isn't it? So we are in the very noisy Coventry Canal Basin where we've been moored for the last week, and it's been a good mooring. It's been a little bit noisy.
It's a town with a whole bunch of history that's really quite dramatic.
And very interesting.
It was basically bombed flat during the Second World War, during the Coventry Blitz. And so it was rebuilt in like the 1950s and 60s, and
in a rush.
Built kind of in a hurry and kind of on a budget, I guess. And so it's got kind of a very industrial feel. Coming into the basin, most of the way down here, it was like the dirtiest canal I think we've seen yet.
And also like the most kind of
urban
rundown.
Yeah, like large amounts of garbage in the water. You pass a section where there's a big metal recycling plant, and there's just this wall of shipping trailers, shipping containers.
Oh, yeah.
There's like this giant wall of rusting shipping containers.
George, George, come here.
Be a good dog. So as you come into town, there's like this giant wall of shipping containers on the side of this metal recycling, sort of field where there's all these residential buildings going up.
And it's the one section that me and George didn't actually walk because was it really cold that day?
It was pretty cold. It was really muddy.
And it was really muddy. It was just after the snow. And I was really glad that we didn't walk it because we weren't missing out on anything.
No, like the amount of just garbage was amazing. But then you come down the last maybe half kilometer and there's these, there's an old electrical plant and Daimler plant that are being rebuilt or have been rebuilt as I'm not sure if it's housing or businesses, but anyway, it's kind of on its way back, I guess.
Yeah,
and then you get into the actual canal basin, and they've rebuilt it, and then it's emptied.
First of all, you come up to the entrance to the canal basin, and there's a tiny little bridge. And Paul from Let's Explore had warned us that it was pretty low. So we were ready, but even so, it was are we going to fit through there? Yeah,
because it's not just low; it's also really narrow.
Yeah.
But we made it through, and then we were able to spin around. And there's a hire boat fleet here that takes up one arm of the.
I think that's only been there. You can sort of see
it there. There's an arm here, and one arm is taken up by the hire boat fleet.
I think that's only been there a year because someone commented on the video that when they were here.
It's fairly recent.
Yeah, when they were here a few years ago, they were actually moored right outside over there, which is a shame. Because now, how many boats are here? 1, 2, 3. There's 5 boats moored here, and you could fit a few more, but
there's 11 hire boats taking up all the room.
And also it's January or early February. So if it was August.
But I can understand them sort of giving the license to make it as a place where you start a tour. But it's really funny, right? Because you're going to get on a boat, start the tour, and we ran into a tour boat that was on its a hire boat that was on its way out. And literally nearly ran into him because he was
on the wrong side, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on the wrong side, and he's just I'm not really sure what I'm doing. And it's yeah, I can see that. But it's your tour out of here starts with a couple hundred meters of one really small bridge, and then a couple hundred meters of kind of nice-ish but getting less nice canal, and then several miles of junk. So it's
baptism of fire.
Bit of a baptism of fire.
I've got a feeling that in the summer this area is nicer if it's more I don't know, little cafes to sit out on, because there is a cafe, but it's always quiet.
There's a little cafe and tea shop. There's a couple of little groceries and stuff here. It's a bit of an odd mix of businesses,
but it could be really good.
Yeah, could be really great.
There's the Christmas tree just dying over there.
Yeah, just sitting there behind the statue. I mean, the canal's got an interesting history here because it was used to feed the ribbon industry, the automotive industry, all these
bring coal into Coventry.
Coal and other things, they were shipping stuff in and out of Coventry. And there's a big section, there's a swing bridge here, and then underneath it is a place where they were originally storing coal. And Daimler was a major manufacturer of cars, and then during the wars it became a manufacturer of tanks and stuff. So they were bringing in steel, they were bringing in coal, and it was apparently in quite a bit of use later than a lot of canals. So it's an interesting place. And then Coventry itself, I mean, you just go over a bridge down there and you're in sort of central Coventry after you cross the very noisy ring road.
It's very convenient for any shop you could want. Or you can walk to IKEA if you want. There's Wickes just around the corner.
So literally around the corner.
We don't really like being in the cities, but it was useful, I guess. You can do quite a bit of sightseeing here. So we went to the old cathedral, which is kind of quite a magical place.
Pretty amazing. It was bombed essentially flat, and
there's still the
left
shell of the
in
walls.
The shell, the shell of the walls as they were when they were hit by the bombs, and
how they've left it is quite moving to go.
It's really touching. And they've turned it into a peace and reconciliation site. So they're trying to, and actually the city's twinned with Dresden, which was bombed flat by the British. So this is pretty much exactly where Winston Churchill was standing in 1940 with the mayor of Coventry after the Coventry Blitz, when German planes destroyed the original cathedral, and this is what's left, and it's still here. It's pretty amazing. It's huge. And the tower is still intact, which you don't see in the photo, is the fact that the bell tower is up there and actually just rang. But yeah. pretty amazing that there are still artifacts of this enormous conflagration between people who now spend all their time arguing about who should have more immigrants. Or less.
And then there's the new cathedral, which we didn't go inside, but apparently is really, really nice.
Yeah, Lady Godiva came from Coventry, and like everything about her that you've ever heard is undoubtedly a myth. So it turns out you can't get a family-friendly, YouTube-friendly shot of Lady Godiva without getting an unfriendly, un-YouTube-friendly shot of her horse. Lady Godiva, famous resident of Coventry. Yeah, kind of cool. Yeah.
And then there's the Herbert
Museum.
Alfred
Herbert Museum.
Yeah, and like there's an art gallery upstairs, which actually was really nice.
Yeah, and there was a really good thing about the Peace and Reconciliation movement and stuff. And there's
and the history of Coventry.
The Automotive Museum.
Oh, you went to that? I didn't go to that.
That's, if you like cars, I'm more airplane than car, but if you like cars, there's like 2 vehicles that held, and one that currently holds the world land speed record. There's like a whole history of Jaguar cars. There's quite a bit of stuff about the Blitz and everything, and like a ridiculous number of bicycles, because Coventry was the center of the bicycle craze.
So it's been a good week. We've probably stayed here a bit longer than we needed to. And you can just hear the hum of the traffic now, and that's kind of
constant.
Yeah, and also just there's people walking past all the time.
Yeah, but there's laundry not too far from here. There's lots of shops, so it's like it's got a lot of convenience. Yeah. But it's also just a little noisy. We had a couple people coming up yesterday and just peering through the windows and just looking in the boat, like probably just checking out what's inside.
Probably didn't realise anyone was home. Yeah, all they saw was our dirty dishes.
Yeah, very dirty dishes.
But so we're craving a bit of peace and quiet. So today we are heading back up the Coventry past Hawkesbury Junction
on the way to the Ashby.
Yeah, so we might get to the Ashby today.
Yeah.
And
first we have to get to Tesco's.
We were reading about the Ashby last night, and it sounds just what we need.
Yeah. But we got to get some water first, and we got to get a little bit of dog food, which is the one thing we haven't been able to get from like Sainsbury's and stuff. So we
always start our vlogs with a stop at the water point.
Yeah, they're incredibly exciting.
Oh, mind you, this is halfway through the vlog. We always start our cruise with a stop at the water point. All right, let's go.
My arms are broken. I cannot feel my hands.
And we're now on the Ashby Canal, and I'm walking even though I wasn't supposed to because the dog jumped off. Michael just stopped the boat to pet a horse, and now first mooring we find.
What?
First mooring we find.
I think so.
Now we're looking for a mooring. So we had an adventurous trip up to the Ashby today.
Shouldn't have been adventurous.
Well, we went we came back from Coventry Basin to Hawkesbury Junction, and I walked all that way, and it was too far to walk.
Yeah.
And it was pretty miserable.
Stopped in at the Tesco's. But yeah, it's actually quite a short distance as the crow flies, but there's lots of winding and everything. So
Michael went into Tesco's and we stocked up on heavy stuff.
Yeah, lots of dog food and stuff.
Yeah, so we carried on up the Coventry.
Yeah.
Because Hawkesbury Junction is where we came off the Oxford like last week. I just chased our dog halfway across the farmer's field.
And I yelled at him.
And now he's tied under the bridge. We've abandoned him.
Yeah, and the wind has kicked in really good, so we're getting blown everywhere.
So we were coming up the Coventry after Hawkesbury Junction, and we met the first boat we'd seen moving all day.
Coming towards us. They were coming down a little.
So before that, me and George walked to Tesco's, and then after Tesco's I was tired, so me and George were in the boat and we made lunch and everything, and then
which wasn't cheese bread.
And then all of a sudden I was like, where's George? And George had opened the back door and was out chilling with Michael, so I thought, alright, let's just all sit on the back.
Yeah, and I'm like, wish he had his leash, because I couldn't quite like tie him up to anything.
But
or anything.
Also, like, I decided that we should just try him without the leash on the back, just
to see if he's a good dog.
Because it's a relatively safe canal. It's not a river with currents or anything.
So we come around a corner, and there's a boat heading towards us, and they're sort of not really squeezing over to the side. So I thought I'd get over to the right as tight as possible
to the towpath side.
Plenty of room, because it was a kind of narrow section of canal. But as they were coming past us, our front end started swinging towards them, which is normal when the two boats pass, and I kind of overcompensated, and the back just briefly touched the side of the canal.
It was, even though we were still a metre out.
Yeah, and so I was looking down at the dog as we hit the bump, and I was just like, oh, we bumped, and I looked straight down, and George is just like, I think it's time for me to go. And so he leapt off the boat. So
there's me and Michael on the boat, and George like off the boat, like going
half in the canal, half out of the canal.
Yeah, I scrambled onto the bank.
And then he's on the bank, and he's just like, oh, I'm very happy, I'm on the bank again.
But then he's like, Mum, Dad,
why are you over there, and why are you continuing?
And luckily he because obviously we'd hit the bank a metre out, so that we couldn't pull over. So luckily George kept up with the boat.
Yeah, and we only went another couple 100 meters before I was able to get over enough to the side to get Jo off so she could walk with him.
So then I was walking again, so George got his own way. Yeah. I wanted to ride, but no.
Yeah, so then we got to Marston Junction, did a hard right-hand turn, came through, stopped, talked to a pony. Very nice little pony.
And then we stopped by just before Bridge 3.
Yeah, probably here for a day or two, I think. The Ashby Canal so far is gorgeous and rural.
And also the sun's come out, which must make such a difference. I hope you like the video.
Hope you like the video. Like, click, subscribe,
click.
Mutate. What?
Mutate.
I don't know. Hit buttons until buttons stop. So close. What's going on?
I don't know, they're just probably gathering for a walk.
Well, we got people gathering for a walk and videotaping. We got 4 guys over there looking through this thing.
I don't know.
I'm a little worried that there's going to be like a procession of some sort.
Well, let's just get going in a minute.
Here, take this. I got to get the chimney off.
No, we're doing the next video.
Ah, we're doing the next video.
I just set it up.
Okay, I'm so confused. Okay, next video.
I did explain it first thing.
Yeah, no, that's hours ago and I'm lost.
Michael, Tiller.
What?
Tiller.
Yeah, I know. Bug, we awake now.
So we are in
Coventry Basin.
Let me finish my sentence. We always do that to each other.
Yeah, yes. We're famous for it.
So we are in.
There's no sky back there. Is it overexposed or is it just?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too dark, right?
That's alright.
Like, it seems like most of the shops have sort of. Okay, sorry, I can't deal with my head being cut off.
Well, you told it then.
Okay, let me. Yeah, all right.
Be huge.
Okay, or should we switch sides? Because it's like I'm on a hill.
All right, let's start again.
We arrived.
This might not be the steadiest camera because it's in a hedgerow.
Yeah, not kidding. That's a bouncy camera.
So we've had an adventurous trip to the Ashby. Is it too wobbly?
It's pretty wobbly. don't see any like stronger bits of tree.
Okay, we'll just have to put up with the wobble. Quick,
Yeah.
before it wins.
Alright, before the wobble wins.
Can you see your dog?
That was the rest. Yes, I can see. It was the rest of that tree. George!
He's getting really far. George!
Do you see him?
Yeah, he's just gone into the next field. He's gone that field. We need to get him back.
Yeah, I see him down there. George!
George!
George! Coming back.
Can you hold that?
Nope, now he's... George! George! You are in deep crap! How do you get through to this thing? Right, back in a few moments. Yeah. So, what's he do?
Have to hold
We start heading towards a southbound...
I'm talking over you. Like, start again.
Stop talking over me.
I had to talk over you to tell you to start again.
Mm.
So...
Don't pull on that cable.
So,
Nope, you're pulling on the cable again.
So, I hope my head's too big. And then we see a boat coming towards us.
Heading down in the direction we were going in.
No, in the other direction.
Because it would... Yeah, well, anyway. So the...
Didn't see that.
Yeah, just standing there. And a pug that was barking like mad. He's fine. He has to be fine because he's tied up.
Yeah,
Because there's no
someone might have
hospital.
stolen him.
No, they wouldn't have stolen him. Nobody wants that dog.